Welcome to LFFM Insights podcast series, Levered Lines. I'm Luke Millar, Global Editor-in-Chief at LFFM Insights. I invite you to listen to our series of podcasts where we interview key market participants as we look across the main themes impacting the leveraged finance markets. And with that, over to the team. Hello, and welcome to LFI's Levered Lines podcast, where I, Luke Millar, Global Editor-in-Chief at LFFM Insights, am pleased and proud to discuss the upcoming Leveraged Finance Fights Melanoma event in London, to learn more through the personal experience of one of my guests, and to hear more about what the Cure Melanoma organisation is doing. With that, I will ask my guests first to introduce themselves.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Peter Urquhart. I'm 37 years old. I'm originally from Wales and I work in finance in London.
Hello, I'm Stephanie Kauffman, and I have the honor of serving as the Melanoma Research Alliance's President and Chief Operating Officer. And it's really good to be back with you, Luke and Peter, to talk about the impact of melanoma research.
Indeed, Stephanie, this is the second time I find myself being fortunate enough to do a podcast with you. We did our first close to a year ago, just before the inaugural LFFM event in London, which was a fantastic event. We were chatting before we started this about how all of my team had come to say what an excellent event it had been, how you'd managed to get the great and the good and the bad and the ugly of the leveraged finance market all under one roof. How did it go from your side, and what can we expect that might be same or a little bit different this year?
No, absolutely. It was an outstanding evening, and I think what sometimes gets lost in these discussions is just how incredibly supportive and generous the leverage finance community is when it comes to rallying and mobilizing for a cause, and in our case, cancer research. Last year was our inaugural Leverage Finance Fights Melanoma London event, really seeing where we could expand from our flagship Leverage Finance Fights Melanoma in New York City. And to be honest with you, we weren't sure how many guests we could anticipate, but we know that this community is really incredible when a challenge is put out there. So last year we were just gratified to have raised 1.4 million pounds for melanoma research, and we had 550 people all come together for one evening, and that was outstanding. I think we were hoping that we would get maybe 200 people. And so what I've learned in working with the leverage finance community through the years is you put the call out there, much like how they want to win in their deals, they want to win for patients and research everywhere. And we saw that.
Yeah, yes, indeed. I remember that you needed to do a last minute venue change because the numbers came in much higher than you were expecting.
Nothing like trying to find a bigger venue during Christmas week, but we managed to make that happen, and we're expanding again once this year. So this year's event, which will be on Wednesday, January 28th, we will be at the British Museum, and we are anticipating yet another record crowd. We already have 70 firms committed and sponsoring this event, which is unbelievable, and we're getting inbound calls every single day of how can I be there? Because I do think what we have found is there's not a lot of opportunities for the LevFin community to get together and be in discussions together in such a social event. Granted, it's a social event with purpose. So it's become this opportunity for the leverage finance community to come together, to see each other, to talk about deal flow, to talk about what's coming on the horizon in a very fantastic setting, all the while centering on the fact that this is helping propel cancer research forward for patients who need it the most. And so I think that's what's made this particular franchise, Leverage Finance Fights Melanoma, be something really unique and really special within the community.
I couldn't agree more. And as much as a wonderful event as it is, and how lovely it is for everybody to be able to come together, I don't want to ever lose sight of the serious subject matter that you are raising funds for, and how that impacts the lives of, I suspect, many more people than our listeners are currently aware. But with that, Peter, would you be kind enough to share your personal experience, because that is what the heart of this is all about?
Thank you. So a little bit about myself. My name's Peter Urquhart. I'm currently 38 years old. And back 18 months ago, I was diagnosed with stage 3 melanoma, which was, it stemmed from a small mole that I found on the inside of my knee. And then fast forward a couple of months, went to see about it. And after removal, actually turned out that it was a stage 3 melanoma, which had made its way into my lymph nodes within my groin. So obviously that was a huge shock for me, more so the kind of unknown of the extent of severity of it. So I was immediately put in via the NHS to my local cancer centre, which is a great cancer centre called Velindre, which is based in the Cardiff area of South Wales. And I was placed under the care of Dr. Ricky Fraser and his team, who were absolutely fantastic in sort of the whole end-to-end process, from diagnosis to outlining my treatment plan and so on. And I was actually told at that point that I would go in to have immunotherapy, which for anyone who doesn't know what that is, that's a fairly recent type of treatment in the last couple of years, I understand, which actually activates your own immune system to fight the cancerous cells in your body. And that means that I was fortunate enough to have very minimal side effects. And I'm hugely grateful for that, because during the whole 12-month treatment program I was on, I was still able to work, and that provided me with much needed distraction from everything that was going on around me. And ultimately, I think that, this type of new treatment, such as immunotherapy, is all being funded by various cancer charities and also events like the LFFM event, who've raised over £32 million so far for melanoma research. So I really feel privileged to be part of this annual event, which is hosted in London. And it also gives me the opportunity to raise further awareness for early testing, which is so critical to, dealing with melanoma. So from my side, I'm now over 9 months clear of my treatment, and everything seems to be going well, which I'm hugely grateful for. And as I said, I'm just thrilled to be able to sort of tell my story. This obviously isn't the case for a lot of other people, and I feel privileged to be part of the LFFM event. Thank you.
Peter, thank you so much for telling us all that, and I am so pleased that it has had a happy ending. I must admit that sat here listening to you, and I also have the benefit of being able to see you. It really shocks me that you're 37, you're clearly as fit as a fiddle. That this is a disease that really does strike anybody of any age, with any sort of fitness and health and well-being. I mean, with that in mind, Stephanie, and having listened to Peter, how does this all resonate with what you are seeing? And please tell us more.
No, absolutely. I think what people may assume, that because melanoma is about cumulative UV exposure, it is one of those things that may be seen as, okay, the average age is maybe around 65, but the reality is, and what we're seeing, unfortunately, is melanoma cases being diagnosed in younger populations. To Peter's point, 37 years old, we have conversations with teenagers now. And so it's a confluence of a number of things that we're trying to discern why are we seeing it in such younger populations. I do think one of the outcomes that we're seeing about people being really vigilant about their health, and if they're seeing something that doesn't feel right, that they're having those conversations much earlier with their healthcare providers to say, this mole does not look right. What is this? And the earlier that you can spot cancer, the more better outcomes that you can possibly have, because the earlier that you can treat it versus it spreading to different parts of your body, the better. And what I'm also struck by and really gratified in hearing from Peter is immunotherapy, harnessing your body's immune system to fight cancer. That was something that was not even around 20 years ago. And we're really proud that melanoma became the testing ground for immunotherapy. It was the first cancer in which immunotherapy was working, and we've been able to fine-tune it so it can actually impact the treatment for 30 other cancers and diseases. So melanoma research has been the launch pad of that. And I would also share with you, maybe not even 15 years ago, you only had maybe 2 treatment options. If you were a melanoma patient with an advanced stage of melanoma, today you have 17 treatment approvals that are on the marketplace that patients can have access to. We have 50% of those patients who respond. We still need to figure out the other 50% who currently don't respond, but that is like a quantum leap in terms of what is available to a patient today that is unheard of in oncology. And what I think the leverage finance community can be really proud is its investment over the last several years, first in New York and now in London, has really set the table for how cancer research is getting done and the treatment breakthroughs that are happening. So I hope that's something that all of your listeners in the audience can take stock in, is that the leverage finance community has had a significant role in changing the outcome of what happens in cancer treatment.
Well, I am very pleased to hear that, and I'm going to urge all listeners and people that attend the event, whilst there is corporate sponsorship that goes on, that dig deep, give money, because it makes a difference, and it makes a real difference to real people's lives. But with that in mind, Stephanie, maybe tell us a little bit more about what some of the funding that's raised, how it's used.
No, absolutely. So all of the funding that is raised in London stays within the UK. We fund research globally across 19 countries, but the UK and its incredible research platform is a priority for us. And we are thrilled to be funding incredible research projects at Oxford University, at the Royal Marsden, at the Wellcome Sanger Institute. And a couple of areas that we are really looking to invest research is, number one, in early detection and better detection technologies. We know that a lot of people may not have access to a dermatologist. So how can we utilize AI and your phone to be able to kind of take a picture of a mole that looks a little suspicious and be able to immediately triage? No, that's fine. That's not something to worry about. Or no, we need to get you into a dermatologist quickly. So we're doing a lot of investment in terms of the use of AI and imaging technologies. I think the other piece that we are continuing to invest around is those breakthroughs in immunotherapy that we discussed earlier. We know that some of the immunotherapy treatments that are available has a lot of side effects to them. So we're doing a lot of research on how can we reduce the side effects for patients who are using that. And then we're also really looking at how can we advance better targeted therapies. So as we think about genetic mutations, and there are genetic mutations that occur in melanoma in the way that you may see in other cancers, we are looking at how we can find new pathways for drug development to extend the survival of patients who may have these specific cancers driven by genetic mutations. So there's a lot that we're doing across the entire spectrum of melanoma research that hopefully will not only improve outcomes for not just melanoma patients, but what we're seeing across lung cancer, bladder cancer, kidney cancer. And I think the last thing that we're really also hyper-focused on is the spread of cancer to different organs, metastasis. Unfortunately, what a lot of people don't realize is that there are 3 cancers that really spread quickly to your brain. It's lung cancer, breast cancer, and melanoma. And so we're doing a lot of effort in that area to figure out the mechanics of that metastasis and how do we stop it in its tracks.
Thank you, Stephanie. As hard a topic as it can be to discuss and listen to, because human nature is to bury one's head like an ostrich at times. I have always found these discussions with you to be enlightening in an uplifting way, because you are making a difference, and that is the best that we can hope for.
Absolutely. Well, we're looking forward to welcoming so many friends who have supported us through the years, as well as some new friends from the Leverage Finance community. Leverage Finance Fights Melanoma London will be hosted on Wednesday, January 28th, starting at 7 p.m. at the British Museum. We are anticipating another record year in terms of attendance and community and conversations. As of right now, we're already committed to 600 guests, and we have room for a little more. So it should continue to prove to be an incredible evening where leverage finance leaders can come together, all for a cause. Cancer research. Cancer impacts all of us. 1 in 2 people, unfortunately, will be diagnosed with a cancer in their lifetime. But the future is so bright with the amount of breakthroughs that we're seeing. So I would tell you, looking forward to seeing everybody on Wednesday, January 28th. And if you need more information about it, please visit us at Cure Melanoma. That's CURE, Melanoma, melanoma.org to get more information. And thank you again, Luke, for giving us this platform. And we want to thank the leverage finance community for really changing what a cancer diagnosis looks like and the treatments that are going to be available for patients today, but more importantly, tomorrow.
Stephanie, it is an absolute pleasure. I'm honoured to have been able to take part in this and have this conversation with you again. Peter, thank you so much for coming on and bringing this all to life through a real experience. And I look forward to seeing you and roughly 600 other people in late January. Thank you very much, everyone, for listening. Thank you. Bye-bye.
This podcast should not be copied, distributed, or reproduced in whole or in part. Neither LFFM Insights nor its affiliates makes any representation or warranty as to the accuracy or completeness of any information contained in this podcast. LFFM Insights is not providing investment, legal, accounting, or tax advice. LFFM Insights is not providing research or making any recommendations, nor is LFFM Insights offering or soliciting any transaction with respect to the purchase or sale of any security that the listener may hold.